Hi Stampers, it's Lisa with Queen Bee Creations. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I go live right here on YouTube and in my Facebook group every Monday and Thursday at 2:30. Today I'm quote live because I'm actually pre-filming this in advance because I'm going to be going to visit my daughter in New Mexico, but I didn't want you guys to be punished for that. So I'm actually making a box today. We are not able to do prize patrol because I'm not here to set up the wheel and spin that. I'll probably pick somebody out of the comments and mail a card, but I can't. Boxes are kind of hard to mail, and I thought this would be a good time to do something fun like this. So I can't wait to show you what we're doing. Let's get started. Okay, so this is our box. We're using the Simply Zinnia suite. And it's a set of cards where their cards are already most of the way done. They're just missing the sentiment. And so I have that here too. And then all they would need to do is mix and match and choose the sentiment that they want and the card that they want, and they're ready to send it off. How fun is that? These make for great gifts for people who love handmade cards but don't really make their own, but they want to send them. So this is what we're making today. Okay, let's get started. What we're going to need is a piece of old olive cardstock. This piece is 6 3/8 by 9 1/8, and it's scored at 1 inch all the way around. And then I have a piece of thick basic white, and this piece is 5 3/4 by 8 1/2, and it's scored at 5/8 of an inch all the way around. Okay, this is another piece of thick basic white that is 4 1/4 by 8 1/4, scored at 1 1/4, 2, and 2 3/4. So that's going to give you this here. I'm just going to adhere this together because what we want is the divider. This is going to go inside, and this is where your card's going to go, and this is where your sentiments are going to go. So we can go ahead and glue that together. Then I'm going to take our box pieces and we're going to burnish all of our score lines. And then, as we do with all of our boxes, we're going to go back in and we're going to remove the score line on one of the lines at the corners. I cut on just either side of the score line and remove the whole thing so that it removes that bulk so it doesn't interfere when we go to bend up the corners and glue it together. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing with the bottom of the box. Okay, then I'm going to take our little tabs and I'm going to add some glue and attach those to the sides. And that's going to form our box. Remember, you don't need much glue. But you do want to make sure that you are making sure that you are straight in the corners. This is why I'm using liquid glue, so that I have some wiggle time to make sure that they're all nice and square. And if there's any kind of a little excess of that score line hanging over the edge, we can clean that up. Okay. So that's going to be the bottom. This is going to be our insert. And then we're making the top of our box. Okay, so same thing. We're getting the tabs glued up and then making them square with the sides. So that sits right on top of there. And then we're going to decorate our box with a piece of cardstock that is 4 inches by 6 3/4. This is in Melon Mambo. Okay, so now we have a piece of designer series paper, 3 3/4 by 6, and I cut it at 2 inches so that I can flip this over. And we're going to put this one up high and this one down low, and that's going to give us kind of a faux band across the middle. Okay, to go on the front of it, I stamped this set of zinnias from our stamp set in basic gray, and then I colored it with the Stampin' Blends. I used Old Olive and Melon Mambo, and then I die cut it with the simple zinnia dies. And then I cut out a second one just out of Mossy Meadow cardstock. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer the two of them on top of each other so that the Mossy Meadow one is used as kind of a drop shadow. So I'm just setting it on there offset just a little bit. And then we're going to stick it to the box. So even though I don't have a full offset, I have a little bit of a drop shadow. We're going to do something similar with the hello at the bottom. I used the hello from this Artistically Inked just because I thought that was going to be the perfect size. And I used the die on the Stylish Shapes dies. This is the smaller of the little labels at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and stamp in Melon Mambo. onto this little tag. And then I'm going to take this second tag and I'm going to cut it in half so that I can have it poke out from either side as, again, kind of a drop shadow accent kind of thing. And by my cutting it in half, I can have it hang out either side and not have it noticeable that it's cut in the middle. But I wanted to give it a little bit of something extra. So what I'm doing is I'm actually attaching it with dimensionals. And so there will be a little bit of a pop between the top and the bottom banner. I'm just making sure that it is indeed even, so that I'm only seeing the mossy meadow from the edge, not from the top and bottom. Then I'm going to use some regular adhesive to stick it to our box. Okay, so there's our finished box. So now all we need to do is make the cards that are going to go on the inside. And so I kept those fairly simple. So I have 6 different card bases. Again, I just took the back of the designer series paper and I picked a few colors that were in there, and I did 2 of each. And then I cut some pieces of designer series paper, and these are all 4 inches by 5 1/4, which is fairly standard. 3 of them are the flowers from the one sheet of I guess 4 of them are, and then 2 of them are this kind where they're double-sided. And we're going to cut those up. But these ones, I think because they are the way they are, I can put that on just like it is. Oh, I guess I should have burnished my score lines. Okay, for these 2, as I said, I have these pieces of designer series paper, and I'm going to stick them in the trimmer, and I'm going to cut them off. Let's say at 2 1/4. And then we're going to adhere them to the card front. With one side up and then the other side up. This is a great layout to do with almost any designer series paper. Since they coordinate so well, we know that the front and the back are almost always going to go together and look good. And it gives it a little bit of interest without using up too much designer series paper, because you don't really need to cut it into much other. Then you would choose to have a strip of whatever you'd like to go across the middle. You can use another strip of designer series paper. These are all 1/2 inch. Or you can use solid cardstock to go all the way across. I think I like the designer series paper. So I'm going to cut those to 4 inches, which is the width of our layer there. And I'm just going to cover up that seam. You could also do this with ribbon, but the designer series paper doesn't give you any of the bulk that ribbon does. So you get the same kind of look without having to add extra postage. So there we have our 6 card bases, and you would put, obviously a white layer on the inside. You could choose to stamp a little flower in the corner using your stamp set. You could add your sentiments if you wanted, but because I'm making this one kind of a choose your own sentiment kind of thing, I'd probably just do either a strip of designer series paper down the side of that inside layer and maybe a stamp of a flower, keeping it fairly simple. Then for our sentiment for the front of the card, I'm going to pull out some scraps. So I'm going to use the same colors. I'm going to use Gorgeous Grape, Pumpkin Pie, and Melon Mambo. And I'm going to take a strip of cardstock and then put it through my double oval punch. So this piece is 1 3/8 inches. So you could go 1.5 inches. It would be nice and comfortable for punching out those without interfering with the white. So you're just getting your colored cardstock. And then I'm taking a piece that is probably 1.25 inches, a little over 1 inch, 1.125 inches maybe. But these are just scrap strips that I had in my drawer. And then when I go and stamp, let's see, and you would just pick whatever sentiments that you feel you want might be options for whoever you're gifting the set to. So for this one, I'm going to do 2 of the hello. And I love the little sayings in here, the happy birthday and the thank you. They are just the perfect size to fit into this double oval punch. So again, I'm lining it up on the grid paper on a line, lining my block up on a line, in hopes that that will make me overall centered. And straight on the block, although it doesn't matter as much with this because we're going to be punching it out. Now, of course, I stuck my finger in the ink, so there's a little bit down there, but that's why cardstock has 2 sides. clean off the stamps from the pumpkin pie, and then we'll stamp in Gorgeous Grape. This is part of our Simply Chamois, and I just cut mine into 4 pieces because I found the smaller pieces easier to work with. Okay, then I'm going to bring back the double oval punch. I'm going to center my word in there. Isn't that just the perfect size? And by having this in a 1 1/8 strip, I'm not wasting any of my white cardstock by having the upper oval punch out, because we wouldn't need that part. Then what I did with my other set is I put the Stampin' Dimensionals between the 2 ovals, and then my plan is on the back side to have tear and tape, so all they need to do is peel and stick. So you can have them that way, or we can do this part flat that you could do with either tear and tape or seal or liquid glue, whatever. I just happen to have this still in my hand. So rather than dig for the other one, we'll just go with the flow here. And for this box set, I'm going to put the white oval flat onto our colored oval. And then I'm going to put the Stampin' Dimensionals on the bottom. But it's good either way. You choose whatever works best for you and who your recipient's going to be. So who would you make this box of cards for? Do you have someone who you feel would love to send handmade cards? I think for craft fairs, this could be a really fun idea to make a set of these and call it like a, what do they call it? A men's emergency kit, where you have 1 birthday card, 1 thank you card, 1 I'm sorry card, 1 anniversary card, 1 Valentine's Day card, 1 Christmas card, and just have an assortment so that when they need a card, they don't have to go running to the store. They will already have one. I know that would come in handy for my husband. Now I'm going to put the dimensionals on the back, but I'm not going to peel them off because I'm not going to actually stick them to the card yet. I'm going to let the recipient choose which one they want to attach. So I'm just going to stick those in there and then put our lid back on, and it's all ready to go. So there you go. There's today's project, a set of cards in a box. I want to say card in a box because I do those so much, but you get the idea. It's a set of cards in a box that's going to be perfect to gift to just about anybody. Thanks for joining me.